Go.
So, for all you guys that are watching this, don't pay attention to the video at all, because this is the world's banned list, so this does not affect you ever, so just skip over to the other video. Skip over to any other video, but this one. But for those of you who are interested in this deck, it's awful, and unless your IQ is like lower than the double digits, I recommend not playing it, because you have to invest so much into getting like so little. Just play Altergist is better. But then again, that's shit as well. So, this is, for those of you who don't know, this is Luna deck, and it is the worst deck in creation because it plays these, because Kiran is still on the banned list, so you have to play Pauper's Kiran. For those of you who don't know, it can search itself, and it is a Kiran unless your opponent sends the same copy of the card that it targeted from deck to grave, which also includes extra deck, so it makes it a little bit shite in the sense of, if Dante was legal, you target Dante, they can send Dante from extra deck, which hurts you a lot, but when it turns into a grind game and your opponent's like only got 5 cards left in deck, this is amazing. A card that I believe should be banned, because this is too good. For those of you who don't know, when this card is a normal summon, it gains a token for every monster that you currently control, including itself. So it creates really shit circumstances, because imagine this: you've just used this to make a goblin, you've drawn into another one, and then you get to normal summon this again, and then you get like another 3 tokens, so then you can like extra link your opponent really easily. For those of you who play Goki, already know that. Because this deck doesn't know what it's actually doing, it has to play Kaijus in form of 2 Gamazeel, Jizukiryu, and a Gondola. I ignore what good players say and play Gamazeels, even though Aquadolphin's a card, and I play these because I need other targets. This is really good because like you can Kaiju your opponent, and then if your opponent doesn't main Kaijus, you can Luna back the Kaiju back to your hand, and then Kaiju them again. So it's how to break the extra link in like 5-year-old standards. Because I don't know what I'm actually doing, I have to play other cards like purple, blue, indigo, and red. Shouts to Tyron for screwing me over, because this is supposed to be yellow, because this deck doesn't actually have back row removal, because I'm just an idiot. So red actually pops monsters that are in the same column, yellow pops spells and traps that are in the same column, so I was supposed to play yellow for like Altergeist purposes and that, but red was still good. This is obviously good. It's sad it doesn't banish for cost, so if your opponent ogres it, you lose everything. If your opponent ogres this, you lose everything. And these are just... It's just free shit until your opponent has every hand trap in the game, and then you just cry and reevaluate your life to why you're playing this. And then for like hand traps, because every deck has to play hand traps, 2 Ash, 2 Veiler, and 3 Droll. For those of you that don't know, Ash is at 2 for the world's list, so that's sad. The 2 Veiler, because I needed to find out the hand traps, and they were better than Ghost Bells in my eyes, and hitting Kegari or any Altergeist cards, or even like Spyral cards, it just shuts down players. And Drolls, this was absolute garbage, because I went up against Altergeist, it did nothing. I went up against Blue Eyes, it did nothing. I went up against Spyral, it actually won me the match. Ignore that one. Went up against Despots. God knows how I went up against Despots in the final. And it did nothing. Went up against Yang Zing, did nothing. So good card, just very bad matchups. That's my defense. And that's like all the monsters. As you can tell, this isn't actually a good deck. This is a deck of like 5 different engines, and then the 5 engines are fighting with one another for supremacy of which one actually makes the deck. So I shall call it Luna Control, because you only play Luna and that's all you need. Onto the spells. They're all degenerate, and you should never play any of these spells because they're all so like horrible. Regeki, because this deck blinds going second. Reborn, because stealing your opponent's borrow load from the graveyard is always good. Slumber is another Regeki without me playing Dark Hole, and also I can dish this off a Nightmare to get a Kaiju to my hand next turn. 2 Pot of Desires, because I don't learn my lessons and I love drawing desires off desires. 2 Scapegoats, because the world's list makes me sad. 2 Memories. This is like low-key broken. I would play it at 3 if it didn't break my entire hand if I played 3. So what this does is it specials a Mekk-Knight from hand or deck in face-up defense position, and during the end phase, the Mekk-Knight returns back to hand. Its only real restriction is you can only special summon Mekk-Knights for the rest of the turn, but like as you can see in this deck, there ain't really that many special summons into anything unless you're going to be like making link monsters. So it's really good. You can just set it, make a wall with red if your opponent tries to attack you for damage, or you can use it to just special purple, and then purple tags out into blue, and then you get purple back next turn, or just do that during your opponent's turn, which is really good. And then 3 Call by the Grave, because I hate hand traps. Even though this deck looks like it could play around every hand trap and not care, it's still good. And also, if you go up against like Altergist, or your opponent forces you to go first, it's just a good card to have, and you probably want to make instead of siding it. That's the spells. The traps are literally hand traps in the form of 2 red reboot, because I forgot that Trickster Incarnation is at 1, so I had a pathological fear of Incarnation until someone told me that Trickster is shite at Worlds. And then 3 cards that say if you pay for this card, you're probably going to win. So I paid to win. If this didn't exist, this deck would be garbage. You effectively try and bait out your opponent's extra links and all that, and then you just evenly them. Or you can just kaiju them and evenly them. So you have to main these, because this is a deck that blinds going second like 99% of the time, unless you actually know the person off by heart. But for all like regional events or whatever, you blind going second game 1, so you have to play these because you want your hand traps, you want your kaijus, you want all the good stuff. If there's anything that I'd say siding out, you side out the red reboots if you're never going to use them, you side out the Drolls if depending on your matchups, and it's one of those things where if one engine doesn't actually help you, you side out that engine for the other stuff. For extra deck, this is like really standard. I'll just separate them into the categories of what you summon and what's there. You summon these because you have to. This is just for a name. You summon this to make for Skyblast the most broken card in existence. More nightmares. I keep forgetting that this can't target stuff in the extra monster zone, so I keep losing games because I'll make this and realise it can't pop anything. Phoenix because I don't want to play MSTs. Unicorn because it's good. Borrowload because it's good, and then cards that you can summon, but I never summoned ever. So this was just filler. Don't play these. Just forget about these. You just play this. This is just cards that you could play, except for these. Just ignore. And of course, like I guess the only one that you pay attention to slightly is this, because Waking the Dragon target. Yay! When your opponent forgets that it's a card. Side deck, same thing, where I actually only had like 9 side cards, and the rest were cards that were there that I never sided into. So 2 Alistair, because I thought siding into Invoked would be broken, but then I realised I can't side out like 6 cards, so that failed. 2 Meltdown to get to the Alistairs. I was going to side 3, but space and all that. 2 Invocation, for the same reason, don't want to draw it all the time because Alistair's at 2. 3 Strike, because Strike's just amazing. 3 Enter-Spell, because I still hate Sky Strikers to this day. And your win condition if your opponent forces you to go first. Apparently summoning Ultimate Falcon is a win condition these days. I never knew like Towers 17.5 ever was a win condition, but I guess so. But to kind of explain it, this is a blind going second deck. You always want to go second, you never go first for like your first game. Even if you win the die roll, you blind going second, because of all your hand traps, Mekk-Knights don't work going first, and all the other stuff doesn't go first. And then when you inevitably win game 1, your opponent's going to force you to go first because they see what kind of deck you're playing, so then you have to side into these cards. The other strike. You have to side into these because, well, it's debatable, these, but like Sky Strikers and most of the meta right now, you have to side into this. Waking the Dragon is just bait, clickbait, effectively, unless you're up against Trickster, which you don't side this because for some reason this doesn't work against Trickster Light Stage, and then you just side these because who the hell doesn't want to side strikes? So yeah, this is the worst deck in existence, never play it, and I'm signing out now. Peace.